The City of Saskatoon has begun work on a project to amend the Blairmore Sector Plan. The existing sector plan, which is in place now, was approved by City Council on March 7th. The Blairmore sector is located within city boundaries on the western edge of Saskatoon. It's comprised of approximately 3,000 hectares of land. The proposed boundaries are intended to align the sector plan with the current city boundary. More specifically, they would align with the approximate midway point between Range Roads 3034 and 3035 to the west, the new alignment of 33rd Street to the north, and the roadway that connects Valley Road to Highway 7, providing access to the Civic Operations Center, the landfill, Richard St. Barbe Baker Afforestation area, and Cedar Villa Estates. Saskatchewan's Planning and Development Act, the provincial legislation that governs how cities are planned, requires that sector plans and any amendments to them be approved by City Council. The Planning and Development Act includes guidance on public engagement that ensures that the public has the opportunity to provide meaningful input before planning decisions are made, and that decision makers are accountable. Saskatoon's Official Community Plan, or OCP, provides a comprehensive policy framework for achieving the community that Saskatoon residents collectively envision and desire. The direction and goals outlined in the OCP are entrenched in law and recognized by the province of Saskatchewan as a statement of Saskatoon's long-term vision. Think of it as a roadmap that guides all land use and development decisions in Saskatoon. Sector plans provide a development framework for the future growth of the city and are based on policies contained within the OCP. They typically include the general location, size, and phasing of future neighborhoods, employment areas, major infrastructure and transportation network connections, significant open spaces, parks, and natural areas, as well as other considerations necessary to align the development with the contents of the OCP. These sector plans then provide a framework for the development of individual neighborhood concept plans. Amending the Blairmore Sector Plan is intended to address three main themes. The first, adjust the boundary to align the sector area with the city boundary. The second addresses the future use and management of the various natural areas included in the sector. The third theme involves responding to market changes, policy updates, and other factors to appropriately plan for future land use in the area. The amendment provides an opportunity to review the current land use plan for the area to address changing market demands. This will include reviewing a request from Saskatoon Land to accommodate additional commercial, institutional, and medium-density residential development in the sector. The amendment process will also assess opportunities to provide direction within the sector plan to ensure land uses adjacent to the Montgomery Place neighborhood are compatible and buffered appropriately, as identified in the Montgomery Place local area plan. At this point, we are asking for input from stakeholders in the public to inform the decisions being made to amend the sector plan. Input could include general comments about the themes being addressed, whether we've missed anything that's important to you, if the proposed boundaries for the sector plan make sense to you, and any market changes that you've observed, to name a few. Work to date has included reviewing the current sector plan alongside the updated OCP and any other new or amended city policies, bylaws, and plans to identify updates needed to bring the sector plan into alignment with them. A desktop natural area screening, or NAS, has been completed for the entire sector, and a field study NAS has been completed for the afforestation areas. As part of the comprehensive planning process at the sector plan stage, analysis of the land use, transportation network, servicing strategy, and phasing plan is underway. And finally, an engagement and communications plan has been developed. The engagement and communications plan outlines the various types of people or groups that will be engaged and how they will be engaged. Stakeholders include anyone that might be impacted by the decisions made in this amendment. Subject matter experts are people who have professional expertise and interests relevant to the elements of the sector plan and development that may occur. Identified stakeholders include landowners and residents within the Blairmore Sector Plan study area, recreational and environmental groups, school divisions, the arm of Corman Park, and adjacent residents, businesses, and community associations. The objective of this engagement is to provide an opportunity for stakeholders and subject matter experts to review proposed amendments and provide their comments, concerns, and considerations. With that said, input from anyone is welcomed. The information that is collected at this time will help shape the amendment. Once the draft sector plan has been completed, another round of engagement will take place to provide the opportunity for interested parties to provide their input on the draft. Comments, concerns, and considerations provided in the second round of engagement will be analyzed, and any final edits to the draft sector plan will be made prior to the administration taking the plan to City Council for approval. All comments, concerns, and considerations will be addressed in the final report to City Council. Desktop natural area screenings are required during the sector planning process. These screenings are used to identify areas that require additional examination closer to development commencing. At the sector plan stage, the screenings identify wetland complexes, significant natural areas, areas with the potential to provide important wildlife habitat and connectivity, and areas with the potential to hold historical and heritage features. The areas that were identified include the Richard St. Barbe Baker and George Genereux Afforestation areas, the West Swale, and other significant wetlands. A separate presentation is available on the City's Engage page, which details the findings of the NES. A link is available on this webpage. The George Genereux and Richard St. Barbe Baker Afforestation areas are contained within the proposed sector plan amendment area. Amending the sector plan provides the opportunity to incorporate direction provided by the City's green infrastructure strategy and to address community concerns regarding the management and future use of the afforestation areas. A more detailed field-level study to collect data and identify natural areas and features within the two afforestation areas was completed in April 2022. A field-level final report submitted to administration includes overall recommendations for the afforestation areas. Amendments relating to the transportation network are expected to address the following: updates to the transportation network design to support the extension of the bus rapid transit corridor and the development of corridor growth areas along 22nd Street. Analysis and consideration for truck routes and associated connections to regional transportation networks. And the relocation of the access road to the CN Chapelle Yard to reflect the recommendations of the Montgomery Place Local Area Plan. Amendments relating to the servicing strategy are expected to address the following: updates to the water mains in order to service the lands west of the swale, relocation of a proposed lift station to align it with the first area that will need it and to better align with the sanitary sewer and storm trunk routes. Redesign of the storm sewer system with the goal of providing a traditional storm sewer system while minimizing the need for cut and fill in the sector. This includes a proposed storm sewer pipe at the south end of the swale north of the CN Chapelle Yards to connect the swale to the Dundonald storm trunk and provide an outlet point from the swale to the river during periods of high precipitation. The West Swale is proposed to be incorporated into the stormwater drainage system and is proposed to be maintained as a naturalized wetland space running through the sector. This will provide natural habitat for wildlife and green spaces for residents, as well as acting as part of the stormwater drainage system. Amendments to the land use plan are primarily related to the addition of the southwest area to the sector. This area is proposed to consist of a light industrial area, special use areas, and afforestation areas. The extension of the bus rapid transit corridor into the sector will guide recommendations regarding land uses adjacent to 22nd Street, west of Nolt Road, as the sector builds out. Corridor land uses are expected to support the extension of the bus rapid transit system into the sector as development occurs along 22nd Street. Light industrial land uses are expected to be proposed south of the CP rail line, including the existing CN Chapelle Yards in the area west of the Montgomery Place neighborhood. Special use areas are proposed for the Civic Operations Center and the proposed Recovery Park properties. 2 afforestation areas are within the sector plan boundary, the Richard St. Barbe Baker Afforestation Area and the George Genereux Urban Regional Park. A natural area screening with a field study component has occurred in the afforestation areas. The natural area screening will provide recommendations regarding appropriate future uses in these areas. The phasing plan is largely dictated by the servicing strategy for the sector. That is, development areas will proceed in line with the installation of water and sewer infrastructure. The next development area following the Kensington neighborhood will be the Elk Point neighborhood. Once Elk Point nears completion, residential development will proceed from the area west of Highway 7 and north of the CP rail line. From there, development will proceed northwards. Areas west of the swale will be developed last. Timelines are heavily dependent on the factors such as market demand and servicing, and thus are subject to change. Phase 1 is expected to begin in the next 5 years. Phase 2 is expected to begin in approximately 20 years. Phase 3 is projected to begin in roughly 35 years, and Phase 4 may be more than 50 years away. The phasing of the industrial area south of the CP rail line is yet to be determined. However, it will likely not begin until servicing has been provided to Phase 2. The next steps of the sector planning process include the completion of the review of the natural area screening documents, a review of the responses from this engagement to determine whether edits or changes to the sector plan design are warranted, and preparation of the updated land use plan, transportation network, servicing strategy, and phasing plan for further consideration and review through public and stakeholder engagement opportunities. In addition, a summary of how responses to this engagement have been addressed will be developed and communicated back to the public. Following stakeholder and public engagement, administration will prepare reports to the appropriate committees and City Council to bring the updated Blairmore sector plan forward for approval. This is expected before the end of 2022. This timeline represents when major milestones are expected to occur in the sector planning process. The project kicked off in July 2020. Following this, development of the draft sector plan document and draft land use plan for stakeholder review occurred. This brought us to our current point, where stakeholder engagement to review the initial analysis and expected amendments is occurring. Following this, updates to the draft sector plan are expected to be completed following the analysis of the responses received from this engagement. A second public and stakeholder engagement session will then take place to provide an opportunity for further review of the updated draft sector plan, after which any remaining edits to the sector plan will be completed, and finally, reports to committee and City Council will be drafted and brought forward for approval.